Most fairy tales begin with a princess in a castle, bound by duty and tradition, yearning for freedom beyond palace walls. Norway's Princess Märtha Louise rewrote this script entirely. Fourth in line to one of Europe's oldest thrones, she traded tiaras for talking with angels, royal protocols for shamanic rituals, and court life for controversy. The golden-haired daughter of King Harald V embarked on a journey that would test the very foundations of Norway's monarchy, from launching an angel school that left citizens bewildered to falling in love with an American self-proclaimed shaman whose claims would make even the most open-minded Norwegians raise their eyebrows as we describe the psychic princess who courts controversy, Princess Märtha Louise of Norway. On the 22nd of September 1971, as autumn leaves began to turn in Oslo, Norway welcomed a princess. Märtha Louise, daughter of then Crown Prince Harald and Crown Princess Sonja, entered the world fourth in line to one of Europe's oldest monarchies. The golden-haired child grew up at Skaugum Estate, where her parents made a deliberate choice that would shape her worldview, to raise their daughter as normally as possible for someone with royal blood. Unlike princesses of generations past, Märtha Louise attended municipal daycare alongside ordinary Norwegian children. She learned to play the flute, sang in a local choir and practiced folk dancing at the Norwegian Museum of Cultural History. Her childhood combined the privilege of royalty with the groundedness her parents valued. This duality between exalted status and commonplace experience would eventually define her controversial path. While other young royals might have gravitated toward traditional pursuits, Märtha Louise found her passion in the stables. Equestrian sports became more than recreation. They formed the foundation of what she would later describe as her spiritual awakening. The hours spent with horses, she claimed, taught her to communicate beyond words, first with animals and later with angels. Her education reflected both conventional achievement and growing interests in alternative perspectives. She studied at the prestigious University of California, Berkeley, before completing a psychology degree from the University of Wales. Later, she trained as a physiotherapist, and then as a Rosen method therapist, embracing holistic approaches to well-being that would eventually inform her controversial career. In 2002, Märtha Louise married Norwegian author and visual artist Ari Behn in a ceremony at Nidaros Cathedral in Trondheim. The union produced 3 daughters, Maud Angelica, Leah Isadora, and Emma Tallulah. For years, the princess appeared to balance her royal heritage with a relatively conventional family life, though her interests already drifted toward the metaphysical. That same year, Märtha Louise voluntarily relinquished the style of Royal Highness, signalling her intention to step back from traditional royal responsibilities and pursue a more independent path. While maintaining her place in the line of succession, she sought greater freedom to explore personal and professional interests outside the rigid confines of court protocol. The true turning point came in 2007, when the princess shocked Norway by announcing the launch of a start education, soon nicknamed the Angel School by bewildered media. For tuition reaching 12,000 Norwegian crowns, approximately €1,500, per semester, students could learn clairvoyance, angel communication, and how to create miracles in their lives. Standing before reporters, the fourth in line to the throne declared with unwavering confidence that she could communicate with angels and the dead. The daughter of King Harald V, granddaughter of King Olaf V, and great-granddaughter of King Haakon VII, claimed abilities that contradicted centuries of Lutheran tradition in Norway, where the monarch serves as the supreme governor of the church. Norwegian health officials and academics reacted with alarm. The state director of health, Lars E. Hansen, openly opposed her practices. Newspaper columnists questioned whether royal status was being exploited for commercial gain. And ordinary Norwegians wondered how the earnest girl who once played the flute and rode horses had transformed into a self-proclaimed clairvoyant, selling spiritual services at premium prices. The princess, who had once represented Norway with dignity at official functions, had embarked on a journey far beyond the traditional royal road. As she stood at this crossroads between duty and desire, convention and controversy, Märtha Louise could not foresee how her choices would eventually force a reckoning with the very institution into which she was born. Create miracles in your life. This enticing promise, delivered with royal authority, formed the cornerstone of Princess Märtha Louise's controversial business venture. A Start Education, later rebranded as Soulspring, opened its doors in 2007, offering 3-year programs in clairvoyance and communication with supernatural beings. Students paid 12,000 Norwegian crowns, approximately €1,500, per semester to learn from a princess who claimed direct lines to the divine. The royal family watched with measured concern as their eldest member leveraged her title and visibility to promote metaphysical services. In a nation where Lutheran restraint and pragmatism formed the cultural bedrock, Märtha Louise's angel school struck many as an affront to both religious tradition and royal dignity. Yet the princess stood firm, insisting her gifts were genuine and her calling authentic. Her published explanation of these abilities traced back to childhood experiences with horses. Those silent communications with animals, she claimed, had evolved into dialogue with angels and spirits. These assertions, coming from a woman educated at respected institutions like Berkeley and the University of Wales, left many Norwegians torn between bewilderment and embarrassment. State Director of Health Lars E. Hansen publicly opposed her practices, voicing concerns about potential harm to vulnerable individuals. Academics condemned a royal figure, lending credibility to unproven metaphysical practices. The media quickly nicknamed the enterprise Angel School, a term that carried thinly veiled derision. Critics argued that while private citizens might freely pursue spiritual entrepreneurship, a princess, even one who had relinquished her Royal Highness style, remained bound by different standards. The controversy only intensified as the princess expanded her commercial empire, publishing books, selling clothing and beauty products, and conducting seminars that combined her royal cachet with New Age spirituality. By 2019, public pressure had mounted to such a degree that Märtha Louise agreed to stop using her royal title for business activities. This concession, however, did little to quell growing calls for her to relinquish her princess title altogether. Meanwhile, her personal life was undergoing equally tumultuous changes. After 14 years of marriage, Märtha Louise and Ari Behn announced their separation in August 2016, describing it as amicable, with plans for joint custody of their 3 daughters. The divorce was finalised in 2017, closing a chapter that had, despite its difficulties, kept the princess tethered to Norwegian cultural norms. Then, on December 25, 2019, tragedy struck when Ari Behn died by suicide at 47 years old. His death cast a pall of grief over the royal family and garnered significant public sympathy for Märtha Louise and her daughters. Yet even as she navigated this personal tragedy, the princess was already embarking on a new relationship that would prove even more controversial than her metaphysical business ventures. As financial troubles mounted, the Angel School closed its doors in 2018, marking the end of her first spiritual venture. The princess showed no signs of retreating from her metaphysical mission, however. Instead, she prepared to enter a new phase of alternative teachings that would further test the boundaries of royal propriety. In 2022, facing mounting pressure from all sides, Princess Märtha Louise would make a momentous decision. The gulf between Norway's traditional monarchy and its most unconventional princess was about to widen beyond reconciliation. When you meet your twin flame, you know? With these words on Instagram in May 2019, Princess Märtha Louise introduced Durek Verrett to the world as her partner. Verrett, an American self-described shaman and conspiracy theorist, brought a new dimension of controversy to the princess's already contentious public image. His background included claims of ancient spiritual lineage, alongside a troubling criminal record and allegations of misconduct. The Norwegian media reacted with undisguised skepticism to this unlikely pairing. Political scientist Torvald Valland Thorkildsen captured the national sentiment when he described the royal family as becoming a parody and source of embarrassment. Norwegian cultural expectations of restraint and humility collided spectacularly with Verret's flamboyant persona and extravagant spiritual claims. While the princess had long tested the boundaries of royal propriety with her clairvoyant claims, her relationship with Verret pushed beyond mere eccentricity into territory many Norwegians found deeply concerning. The couple launched spiritual seminars under the provocative title The Princess and the Shaman. Their events explicitly leveraged Märtha Louise's royal status to promote Verret's teachings, defying protocols about commercial use of royal titles. Public backlash intensified, with many Norwegians viewing this as the final transgression of acceptable royal behaviour. Pressure mounted for the princess to maintain a clearer separation between her royal identity and her commercial spiritual pursuits. In November 2022, Princess Märtha Louise made a momentous decision, relinquishing her official royal duties to focus fully on her alternative medicine business with Verret. The palace announcement emphasised that this step aimed to draw a clearer line between her personal engagements and royal responsibilities. While maintaining her place in the line of succession, she effectively stepped away from representing the monarchy in any official capacity. The decision represented a pivotal moment in the modernisation of the Norwegian monarchy, acknowledging that traditional royal roles might not accommodate the diverse personal and professional aspirations of all family members. King Harald and Queen Sonja, despite apparent reservations about their daughter's choices, publicly supported her right to pursue her own path. Their statement reflected the complex balance between maintaining monarchical traditions and respecting individual autonomy within the royal family. In June 2022, amid continuing controversy, the couple announced their engagement. The impending marriage placed the Norwegian royal family in an uncomfortable position between family loyalty and institutional integrity. Their wedding on August 31st, 2024, in Geiranger, Norway, became a spectacle that captured international attention. 350 guests attended the ceremony at Hotel Union, including royal family members demonstrating solidarity despite the circumstances. Norwegian media described the event as comical and embarrassing, reflecting the persistent public discomfort with the union. Adding to the spectacle, a Netflix crew documented the proceedings for an upcoming series about the couple. Notably, Verret did not receive a royal title post-marriage, and the couple agreed not to use Princess Märtha Louise's title for commercial purposes. These conditions represented the palace's attempt to maintain some distance between the monarchy and the couple's controversial activities. In the months following the wedding, reports emerged alleging the couple had failed to pay wedding vendors, with outstanding bills totalling approximately 1 million Norwegian kroner, about $90,000. Local businesses, including Hotel Union and LYDAS, publicly claimed they had not received compensation for services provided. These allegations further damaged the couple's reputation, raising questions about financial responsibility alongside the existing concerns about spiritual authenticity. In November 2024, the controversy deepened when reports emerged alleging Verret had admitted to sexual assault during shamanistic sessions. More disturbingly, these reports claimed Märtha Louise knew about these incidents but remained supportive of her husband. The Norwegian public, long accustomed to their royal family embodying moral rectitude and quiet dignity, watched in dismay as these allegations unfolded in the media. The princess and her shaman husband responded with hostility toward the press, eventually declaring a boycott of Norwegian media entirely. This stance only reinforced the perception of a definitive break between the princess and the nation's cultural values. As 2024 drew to a close, The saga of Princess Märtha Louise and rewrote had transformed from royal curiosity to national embarrassment. Princess Plenty More of Have It All echoed through Norwegian media, capturing the public's growing exasperation with Märtha Louise's ventures. From angel schools to shamanic partnerships, her journey had tested the Norwegian people's tolerance for royal eccentricity. As the eldest child of King Harald V and Queen Sonja, she had once represented the future of the monarchy, attending royal functions with dignity and poise. Now she stood as a polarising figure whose choices had repeatedly challenged the boundaries between personal freedom and royal responsibility. Despite the controversy, Märtha Louise maintained several traditional royal connections, including serving as chair of the Princess Märtha Louise's Fund. This philanthropic work offered a glimpse of the more conventional royal role she might have embraced had her spiritual interests not led her down a different path. Her commercial empire continued to evolve, encompassing book publishing, apparel lines, beauty products, and spiritual seminars. These ventures, though officially separated from her royal title, remained inextricably linked to her princess identity in the public consciousness. Polls showed a majority of Norwegians favoured removing her title, disapproving of her commercial exploitation of royal status. The palace found itself in the uncomfortable position of balancing respect for Märtha Louise's autonomy against protection of the monarchy's reputation. King Harald, approaching his late 80s, navigated these waters with the wisdom of experience, supporting his daughter while maintaining the dignity of the crown. Queen Sonja, having herself faced resistance when marrying into the royal family as a commoner, perhaps understood better than most the challenges of conforming to royal expectations. The princess's three daughters, Maud Angelica, Leah Isadora and Emma Tallulah, grew up in the shadow of their mother's controversies and their father's tragic death. Leah Isadora followed her mother into the public eye, pursuing a career as a makeup artist and social media influencer. The younger generation's comfort with media exposure and commercial endeavours suggested a new model of royalty might be emerging, influenced by their mother's boundary pushing. Princess Märtha Louise's legacy within the Norwegian monarchy remained complex and contradictory. Her insistence on charting her own course represented a modernising force, challenging centuries-old notions of royal propriety. Yet her blend of spiritual claims and commercial ventures had eroded public confidence in her judgment and integrity. Her story raised fundamental questions about the purpose and privileges of monarchy in the 21st century. If royal status could be leveraged for personal profit, what distinguished the monarchy from any other celebrity brand? How could the monarchy maintain its unifying national role when individual self-expression overshadowed institutional responsibility? The Norwegian royal house, one of Europe's most approachable and modern monarchies, found itself struggling to answer these questions satisfactorily. Märtha Louise's decisions had forced a reckoning about where the boundaries of royal behaviour should be drawn in a democratic society. The paradox of her position was that she both benefited from and was constrained by her royal birth, a tension she never fully resolved. Critics argued that her commercial exploitation of royal mystique undermined the monarchy's foundation of public trust and service. Supporters countered that her spiritual journey, however unconventional, represented the kind of personal authenticity modern royalty needed to survive. Perhaps most significantly, her story highlighted the inherent contradictions in contemporary constitutional monarchies. These institutions simultaneously embraced democratic values while perpetuating hereditary privilege, a balancing act growing increasingly difficult in an egalitarian age. As Princess Märtha Louise and rewrote continued their joint ventures, the Norwegian people watched with a mixture of fascination and dismay. The monarchy, having weathered 8 centuries of history, would likely survive this controversial chapter. Yet the institution had been changed by Märtha Louise's unconventional path, forced to confront questions about its boundaries and purpose in modern Norway. The princess who spoke to angels had compelled her nation to examine the very foundations of royal privilege and responsibility. In doing so, she had written herself into Norwegian history, not as the traditional royal her birth might have predicted, but as a catalyst for institutional self-examination. The monarchy would adapt and continue, as it had for generations before her. But it would do so with a clearer understanding of its limitations and vulnerabilities in an age where even princesses could choose their own adventures, for better or worse. And now I'd like to see you in the comments. What is your opinion on Princess Märtha? Is she an inspiring, free spirit, or is she a bit odd? I can't wait to hear your thoughts, so leave a sentence or two below. With that said, I'll see you on the next one, and thanks for joining me for another episode.